Okay, so today I'm in the woods of Eastern Connecticut, and we just had about 2 inches of rain this week. So I'm gonna go out and see what we could find for spring mushrooms. And there's only a few mushrooms that you'll see in the early spring, and those are wine caps, morels, and oyster mushrooms of the edible varieties. There are many other mushrooms you'll find, but those three are the main ones. So we're gonna go out and see what we could find. Cool, let's go. Okay, so these are not mushrooms, but these look like some type of large bird footprints right along the edge of this creek. And there's a few more you can see. I'm not sure exactly what bird this is. I'll probably update it in the video, but I'm guessing it's either a hawk or a turkey, or maybe a vulture. So you'll find out. Cool. Okay, so these are some old decomposed mushrooms from last year, and they kind of look like they're some type of russula or milk cap, but at this point it's too hard to tell, but definitely not edible, so don't eat that. You know, it seems like it might be still too early for many mushrooms right now, but I know because I grow wine cap mushrooms in my garden that they're fruiting right now, so it's just a matter of finding a spot in the wild where they're fruiting. So we're gonna keep looking and see what we can find. Cool. So this looks like some hemlock reishi from last year, Ganoderma suge. These are too old to use, but they'll fruit pretty much every year or every other year on the same log once it's colonized. So we'll come back here in a few weeks and see if we get more. Okay, so here we go. We got a fresh mushroom. I don't remember the exact name of this one, but I'll include it in the video. But just a non-edible mushroom growing on a stick, so kind of looks like a honeycomb. Maybe it's, I believe it's a type of polypore, but we'll double check. Nice little underground stream coming out of the mountain, flowing right into the creek. Yeah, that's some good moss right there. Oh, yeah. Yep, nice and soft. Nice and soft. I'd like to think this is from beavers, but I'm pretty sure it's just the creek got kind of backed up with brush and sticks. But, I'd like to believe there's a beaver around here. I'm a beaver. Here we have some more witch's butter, Tremella mesenterica. I think I said that correctly. But yeah, gelatinous mushroom. Not really much to do with it. It's because it's so small, but you'll usually see it after it rains. We got some more right here. Okay, these look like tinder polypores. Great for carrying an ember. I don't believe they are edible at all because they're kind of hard and woody, but I'm sure there's some type of medicinal property. It looks like one from last year. These look like fresh ones right here. Some people feel lonely in the woods. But honestly, so many trees there are here. How could you feel alone? Not me. These look like some old turkey tail, Trametes versicolor. So not useful, but I'm sure they'll fruit again this year or next year on the same log, so we'll come back. It almost looks like a beaver den, but it's definitely not, unfortunately. I'm not sure exactly what species this mushroom is, but I'll update it in the video if I figure it out. Some type of wood decomposer, though, so good for the forest. This part requires a little skill. You gotta jump across this creek. The creek's usually not this high, I think just because we've had so much rain. It's flowing pretty good, though. And all of these trout looking leaves, I believe, are trout lilies. So usually these are flowering with a yellow flower in the springtime. So I'm sure they'll be flowering very soon if they haven't already. Wow, there's a lot of them. These are a polypore. I believe they are a cheese polypore, but I'll update it in the video once I double check. But just another wood decomposer, not edible. But, you know, it's still a mushroom, so can't forget it. Looks like some more tinder polypores. These right here next to this little isopod, or whatever they're called, looks like a little baby tinder polypore fruiting this year, among all these other trichaptum, not turkey tail. These are, you can tell it's not turkey tail because of the underside, but turkey tail will have a white underside with small white pores. This is not that, and these are also from last year, so regardless, I wouldn't eat that or use it. So this greenish blue bark is from the green elf cup, and it's not an edible mushroom, but it does stain wood a greenish color, so it's great for carpentry and artwork, but a very small mushroom you probably won't really see much ever, to be honest. But if you do see it, you might need a macro lens to really get a good shot of it. But yeah, that's the green elf cup. Okay, so I didn't really find many mushrooms of an edible variety at this spot, so I'm going to go to a second location and see what we can find there. But I do see some flowers over there I want to go check out. I believe they're azaleas, so let's go see. Okay, so yeah, these look like some pink azaleas. I'm not sure if these are wild to this location or if they escaped from someone's garden, but definitely a cool sight to see some pink flowers in the middle of the green woods. And we did get a lot of rain recently, so this trail is basically just a stream right now. So this vine right here is actually poison ivy, and you can see the 3 leaves right there, the oily leaves of 3, and you do not want to touch that vine or those leaves because you'll get a very bad rash. And you can see that vine's going all the way up the tree. I would avoid poison ivy if you can, because it's not worth the repercussions. So these are some old hemlock reishi, Ganoderma suge, growing on a dead hemlock tree, and you can see there's a few new ones that are just starting to emerge this year. We'll come back in a few weeks and check these out. But yeah, they take a few weeks to grow. But now we know where they are, so good to know. I'm not sure what these mushrooms are, but I don't think they're edible, so just for fun, you know? Okay, so I didn't really find as many mushrooms today as I had hoped, but I am in a location, the farm, where I know for sure there is some wine cap mushrooms because I grow them, and this is the perfect time of the year to find wine caps in your garden or in the woods. So let's go see if we can find some. I think we can. There we go, there's a few. So this is a beautiful fruiting of wine cap mushrooms. There's probably at least 10 in this one cluster, but this is about the time you want to harvest it before the cap fully opens and it drops the spores. And yeah, they're actually very easy to propagate too. You can just take one of the stem butts like this, mix it into some wood chips, as long as they're fresh, and they'll grow wine caps. So it's actually very easy to grow. If you can't find them in the wild, I would recommend growing them in your garden because, yeah, it's great for the soil. It'll attract earthworms. It'll break down the wood chips into great compost, and you'll get big, healthy plants. So, and mushrooms on top of that. So, grow some wine cap mushrooms if you can't find any. But either way, you should grow them because they're great for the soil. Here we go. Here's some little ones coming up. And there's some fully formed wine caps. Yeah, those are some beautiful wine caps. This one's a little too old and has bugs already eating it, but still a wine cap though, for identification purposes. Get a few more coming up. These mushrooms love wood chips, so if you have fresh wood chips, you should definitely grow these. Another beautiful wine cap. Perfect size to harvest. The cap hasn't fully opened, hasn't dropped the spores, so great to slice up and cook like a button mushroom, however you'd like, in butter, with wine. It is a wine cap, so cool. And these are some pearl oyster mushrooms, and these are actually a wild species native to Connecticut that I cloned to cardboard and actually made spawn off the grid and inoculated some logs and the stump. So yes, you can grow mushrooms off the grid. You don't need a lab, you don't need anything fancy. And I would recommend to grow native oyster mushrooms because certain species like golden oysters are actually very invasive and have spread all over the United States and are not actually native to the United States. So they're outcompeting native fungi, and it might not seem like a big issue, but it's hard to really measure the effect of invasive mushrooms because it really hasn't been studied yet. But yeah, these are delicious oyster mushrooms ready to be harvested. I would honestly harvest these a day or two earlier than this, but they're still good to eat. We get some more wine cap mushrooms growing in the potato patch symbiotically. So the wine caps break down the wood chips into good soil, and then the potatoes use it as nutrients. So symbiotic relationship going on. Cool. So the good thing about growing wine cap and oyster mushrooms is that I know when they're fruiting on the farm that they should be fruiting in the woods. So although I didn't find any naturally in the wild today, I did find plenty on the farm. So that's why it's good to grow things sometimes so you can see the exact timing of when they will fruit, and you kind of learn the seasons and how they operate. Okay, so that's it for this spring fungi foraging video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment. Have a great day.